Well, hello and welcome along to Tracktalk for an 11-race card coming up this Saturday afternoon here at the Singapore Turf Club. Not quite the same quality as last week, obviously the $1 million Crunchy Mile, something we will look back on this show before we delve into the race card coming up this Saturday afternoon. But a good card nevertheless. And the standout race, Scott Bailey, is a Class 3 handicap and a good sprint on the poly track as well. I'm looking forward to that, plus a number of other races as well on this card.
Yeah, this week's meeting doesn't dive into too much depth quality-wise, Nick, but compared to last week's racing. But, there's a couple of handy horses stepping out and really looking forward to hopefully finding a few winners amongst the program.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to seeing this 8th race, actually, with Red Rover. He's a horse who's got a string of duck eggs next to his name, but has trialled well and looks as if he might almost be favourite, potentially, in what looks a very open race.
I reckon he could be, Nick. His trial was really well the other week, and all points that he's looking forward to running well this weekend. Yeah,
indeed. Well, one horse that ran very well last weekend was Minister. We can take a look back at the Crunchy Mile now. Obviously, many congratulations to King Power, Donna Logan, and obviously Harry Cassim, who rode the horse. You got a good look at him in the preliminaries there, Scott. There he is going to post. He looked a treat, didn't he, coming into this race?
He looked $1 million, Nick. He won Best Groomed on the day.
Yes, he did.
And the Syce and the team and Donna, everyone involved, has just done a remarkable job since getting the horse from Lee Freeman's stable. And just a win, deservedly so, for both the trainer and the jockey. They're both Group 1 winners, and it's good to get another feature for both of them.
Yeah, indeed. Harry was happy just to take him back. You can see the early pace, as expected, sort of Fame, Star, and he also had obviously Limbs Lightning going for. What a great ride that. I mean, take nothing away from the winner, but the ride Danny Beasley gave the runner-up was 11 out of 10.
The second horse, Limbs Lightning, was the best losing ride of the day. He didn't do a thing wrong, and just from the outside barrier just gave him an absolute peach. But looking at Harry here at this point of the race, I heard Donna Logan say after the race that the horse has been beaten. He looked a winner at some stage in some of his races where he's run second behind some handy Group 1 winners. And they really wanted to save the last bit for the end, and the plan came to fruition. And hats off to Harry. He knew what he had underneath him. He knew the game plan, and no pressure. Just he played it like a pro.
Yeah, for those that obviously don't know, but I'm sure you do watching this program, that's him in the predominantly blue jacket out there. Just see Harry now getting off heels there. Rocket Star, much more prominent this time around. I'm Incredible's falling back in his lap a little bit. You've got a few coming under a little bit of pressure. What did you make of the run of Top Night? That's him right down the outside. I feel he's run well, but he's probably now looked a bit vulnerable to some more up-and-comers, potentially. Is that fair?
He's a horse that we know. He goes really well on a wet track. And I said even at the start of the day, if the rain comes and there's a bit of give in the ground, he's the one that's going to really, really favour it. And his run was full of merit, but he does. Every time he steps out, he always runs a beautiful race.
Yeah, I'll tell you, he ran very well. There was Sacred Choir. There you can see his rider, Hakeem Cameroon, just going back to scale. Congratulations to Harry and Donna. Obviously a big win for them and a huge moment, especially for Donna Logan, who I saw a tweet, I can't remember who it was from, I think it was someone New Zealand based, but she's a Group 1 winner in New Zealand, Australia and now Singapore, which takes a bit of doing, really. Yeah,
I believe she won an Oaks with Rising Romance in Sydney, and also she took Bulk Stock and Barrel.
Not so long ago, I believe, for a lot of money.
A couple of years ago, I think, maybe 1 or 2 years ago.
Sale, or an offspring actually, so an offspring recently.
One of her offspring. Yeah. But she's a proven Group 1 trainer in New Zealand, took some to Australia, which they're not easy Group 1s to win, and
none are.
It's just great to get another feature for Donna, and she's a hard worker, and she thoroughly deserves it.
Yeah, she certainly does. Well done to Donna and Peter and everyone involved. Shame they couldn't really celebrate to the same extent. I'm sure they would like to, but I'm sure they would have done nevertheless.
Yeah, after the Group 1s, it's always good to get out and celebrate with your friends and clients and stable staff, but it's going to have to wait for another day, I think.
It certainly will. But Minister, a Group 1 winner, looking forward to seeing where he goes next, and those that were beaten certainly ran well, that's for sure, notably the likes of Rocket Star and Limbs Lightning. Let's have a look at the premierships now coming into this meeting. This is meeting 22 of the year. Mark Walker and Michael Clements, they're jousting, 32 winners apiece. They're a decent way in advance of Stephen Gray, some 17 winners. He's back on 15. Dan Maher with the 14. Hideyuki Takaoka just silently sort of tipping along, really, isn't he? 12 winners for the Japanese master. Jockeys, Mark Lerner on 19, Jurek 18, Bogolan 17, along with Beasley. It's now becoming a bit of a, five-man race, isn't it, really? Jimmy Wong on 15.
A few jockeys in contention, and it's quite an even spread this year, and it's good to see him doing battle.
Certainly is. Looking forward to seeing how that all unfolds. Hakeem Cameroon leads to the apprentices, though, 27 winners for him. Krisner on 9, Rosman Skander 7, Simon Cock 5, Fancy Yusuf on 3, who So nearly pulled off a nice win on Mackham Lad in the Crown GA last week. Details are on the short course C coming up this Saturday afternoon. We've got 4 on the short course C and 7 will be run on the poly track. So we start at midday as usual, 12 o'clock for our first race coming up this Saturday at the Singapore Turf Club. 11 races scheduled in total, and we start traditionally with a Class 5 event. And we can take a look at the race card for this now. It's over 1,100 metres. Big Mary heads them. She's on her last winning mark. You've also got stablemate, season boss, I should say, in this. Sahabat, the man of Vlad Jurek, he's an interesting runner. Happy Friday. We'll take a look at him shortly as well. Sir Elton, Harry Kassam rides, and over the page there, a couple of the EAs, our Supreme Fighter and Nadim Sapphire. Let's have a look at Happy Friday here, Scott, who ran fourth. He's run 2 back. I tipped him this day, and I thought this was a really eye-catching run, and certainly a horse who should be winning soon for mine. Yeah,
this was a very interesting run race, Nick. He sort of just got back a little bit, and if you can really see at the end, he was just really doing his best work late. The leaders were just starting to fade a little bit, but he was very solid to the line, and yeah, he's one you throw in the mix for this sort of race.
Now also on the inside was Yes One Ball, wasn't it? So he
Correct.
Continues to sort of hold the form okay. Here is Sahabat. Now he's had 3 runs, gets a handicap mark of 48. In the 3 runs to date, he's run 3rd, 6th and 7th. I mean, interesting, on his debut in the race won by Orion Success, I mean, he was only beaten 3/4 of a length. He's run some good races, this horse.
He has. He's a horse that has ability, and I really like the restricted maiden down to Class 5 drop. He's going to run into a weaker field, and he gets the services of the champ, Vlad Jurek, and it ticks a lot of boxes.
I thought we must give a mention to Big Mary, who's on her last winning mark. She won off 48 back in February, beat Lim Shot. I know the form's probably not the strongest. She was $106. She's been massive prices her last 4, but she's on her last winning mark, so that's got to count for something.
Yeah, being back to Class 4, now she's in Class 5, and that's just going to look to really suit her. Got a tricky barrier to deal with.
1 from 1 in this grade.
That's true, yes, but it's got a fair bit of work to do with the barrier, I think.
Yeah, wide barrier. Also an interesting one I thought was Sir Elton. Just quickly, what did you make of him?
His form's solid, Nick. He's been around the mark, a nice second in a trial behind California, but that's just a nice, easy trial, not much to get a guide on. He's another one with a tricky barrier to contend with.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it could be a case of sort of Monday, Tuesday, happy days and all that. But
bit of the Fonz.
We'll stick with Friday, I reckon. always a good day, Friday, isn't it, really? Happy Friday for us here at the studio. Sahabat in for second. Scott and I quite similar numbers here. Big Mary have thrown in on her last winning mark, and our friend Sir Elton in as well. Could just be one to sort of keep progressing forward, where one of 2 of these might be going backwards slightly. 7-4, 110 for me.
Yeah, I'm with you, Nick. I like Happy Friday to win. His run last start was full of merit, and that's a nice run coming into this sort of field. Sahabat, services of Jurek, he's in the right stable, and his work was really nice during the week. Sportscaster, he's an honest Class 5 competitor. He always just seems to run a nice race every few runs when he's out of the mix. And I'll throw in Super 6 for 4th. He's getting on in age now, but he looks the right sort of race for him, and a nice 3rd last start. So my numbers 7, 4, 12 and 9 for race 1, Nick.
Yeah, he's not a bad horse, old Super 6 at this sort of level. Race 2, restricted maiden over 14. Golden Spirit up at the top. We've got Iron Prince, who is in good form, but he's drawn wide. Ace Sovereign, another one we'll take a look at shortly, along with Golden Way. Handy little race this. Amazing Breeze is left in by Jerome Tarn. Stablemate Classic 36 is out though, has been scratched. Den of Thieves further down. Great Expectation. Interesting run on debut for him. He was green as grass, but ran well nevertheless. Shylock is a half brother to Deck Collector. Hakeem Cameroonian will ride. Further down, Tavi will do. Prodigal will get into the field now, given the absentee Classic 36. And Conspiranza is EA2. Well, let's have a look at Golden Way in a recent trial, shall we? A horse who wasn't disgraced at all, Scott, in a golden horseshoe behind Boomba. That form, mixed messages, but I think this horse is capable of winning an RM. Yeah,
he's beaten under 3 lengths in a Group 3 race, like you mentioned, in the Juvenile Championship, and he's obviously a horse I think has a bit of ability to run in a race like that. So this was a lovely trial of his day, just nice, easy coasting to the line, and just open the lungs up a bit.
Yeah, second run for Tan Karsoon this time around. So still very lightly raced. Gets a mark now 47. I think if he's not going to be winning handicaps off that mark, he can still get very competitive in a restricted maiden. Iron Prince is a horse that I'm very interested in. We can take a look at him now. Obviously, things have been pretty quiet for Steve Burridge, and I'd love to see him get back amongst the winners more often than not. I mean, I know Split Second was a recent winner for him as well, but this horse, Iron Prince, good form. We're having a look here at his run when second to the youthful Prosperous Return.
He's a handy horse on his day, Nick, and he's going to get a win very shortly. Stephen Burridge, he seems to place his horses really well, and this horse here was a very strong second that day. He just looked to lay in a little bit under the riding, but it was very solid to the line.
How did he not win that? I mean, an extra 2 yards he would have won. Let's have a look at his trial. We've also got Golden Sprint in this as well, in the Logan Silks. He won't mind a bit of cut in the ground either. This is going to be the first of the turf races, the first of the 4 turf races on Saturday. If there's rain, that will enhance his chance, I think.
He's placed twice on the turf, Nick, and this trial here was really lovely. He sort of covered a lot of ground in the trial and just looked to travel on the bit the whole way round and still went to the line under a strong hold. So he's a horse that's got some motor there. He
certainly has. But I've got a couple of pass runs from Ace Sovereign. This is the first of them. He was runner-up on this occasion. So this is 2 back. But there's quite a few horses in this race that are also in this past run.
Yeah, I believe even the run before this, he was unlucky as well. He's just a horse that's been knocking on the door, Nick. Tim's got him really well. I think 1400 is going to really suit him to the ground. He had it 2 starts ago when he ran second. And yeah, he's a horse that's just knocking on the door to win one.
The run of the race there was the 4th, Great Expectation. If you didn't quite catch him there, go back and have a look at it. It was very good indeed. Here is this other run, the most recent run. This is his 4th Bind Everest. Again, very creditable, only beaten a length and a half. Jurick's going on board though. I mean, he's got a decent little strike rate for Timmy so far.
Yeah, when they join up together, it's a good combination. You can't get them all that
often.
No, and Timmy's obviously probably booked him a fair way out to get a horse like this, and the services of a champ that's going to throw in even more chances for him.
Yeah, there is Great Expectation working with Tavi. We'll do a couple in this field as well for Stephen Gray. I really do like the horse on the inside. We'll discuss him a little bit more now in depth because, I mean, that run in the Bruce All Naughty race was an excellent run. Now, what interests me, I think you and I both spoke about this during the week, is that, well, Vlad rode this horse and rides a lot for Stephen naturally, but he now rides a Sovereign. So Mark Lerner gets the leg up on board Great Expectation. Mark has trialled him, so he'll have some idea. Do you read much into that? I mean, I know we wax lyrical about Jurick, and look, he is a 4 times champion, so it's worthy chat, but I mean, it's an interesting one that Vlad hasn't stuck with him. I mean, he clearly fancies Timmy's horse, possibly.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed with Cranji, Nick, is jockeys can be booked quite a while out. And, if there's a horse that a jockey really wants to ride, he has to weigh up. Sometimes he's got 2 or 3 chances in a race that he's offered to ride. So Vlad's either gone the way of Tim's. Mark gets back on, Great Expectation, which is a half to Kate's Keeper, by the way. She was a 3-time winner up here in Singapore.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay,
so it's got pedigree behind it and proven. All signs lead to Vlad maybe liking Ace Sovereign more.
Perhaps, yeah. Just before we get to the selections, I must ask you for an opinion on 1 or 2. I mean, Golden Sprint I thought was very disappointing last time, but found to have an irregular heartbeat. I mean, we can allow him that, I'm sure, but prior to that, his form looked okay. And also, Amazing Breeze, Jerome Tarn now just left with 1 in the race because Classic 36 is scratched, but he actually has trialled very well. Yeah,
nice trial the other week. And going back to, like you said, Golden Sprint, I'm just a little bit queried about the 1400 first up.
Sure.
I feel, obviously, if they're fit and they're ready, that's okay coming into it, but just a bit of a question mark for mine for a young horse, 1400 first up.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree with that fully. I think those with form are probably the ones to be with here, and I quite like this Great Expectation. I just feel he's an improver, typical of Stephen Gray's type of horse, really. A bit of a slow burner, but that run on debut was excellent given the circumstances. Quickest sectional home, and the excellent iRace book will even tell you as well. Raced at Greenlee, so it was there for all to see. Iron Prince in for second. I've thrown Ace Sovereign in for third, and Golden Wave makes it into my numbers here as well. 8, 2, 3 and 4.
I've gone the way of Ace Sovereign to win. Tim Fitzsimmons and Vlad Jurick teaming up. He's a horse who's just been knocking on the door. I've thrown Iron Prince for second. Lovely trial, just travelled outside him and just cruised to the line. He looks nice and fit. I throw in Golden Sprint for third. I just think as a bit of a price, he can run a top 3, first up over 1400. And I'll throw in Great Expectation for fourth. It was a good run first start. It looked a little bit green and unlucky, but 1 for in the mix. So my numbers 3, 2, 1 and 8 for race 2.
Yeah, handy little race, that one, the second. Race 3 is a class 4 with plenty of seasoned campaigners in this. Jilin Siao will take her second ride for trainer James Peters. Limited edition's been in good form. Zyrul, who was amongst the winners last week. Old Flak Jacket turns up for the party. He's a 10-year-old nowadays. Further down, Al Green's not getting any younger as well. Super Ray, Chi Achiever, I'm a Conqueror, JP van der Merwe. We've got Well Felice in at number 12 there, Jimmy Wong. And 13 is Crystal Dragon, an emergency for the third. Let's have a look at Al Green here, Scott, shall we?
Yeah, just nice easy work during the week. Under a good hold, not asking to do too much. Look, he's an old timer. He knows what he has to do, and this would just be a nice stretch of the legs and open the lungs for him.
I'll tell you what my concern was slightly is the fact that he's running over 1,200 metres, but he has won over 12 3 times. But course and distance 0 from 3. I just think he's probably a horse who prefers a bit shorter nowadays. Limited edition has been in good order. It was an easy to back $71 chance last time, and ran respectable behind Legend of the Sun, who absolutely bolted him.
Yeah, the winner was too good on this day. He boxed on really well, but he's a horse that if he brings this sort of form to this race, he gets a top 3 chance again, and take nothing away from the winner on that day. That form's going to hold up. Yeah,
it was a big win there from Legend of the Sun, and Limited Edition's done nothing wrong. Placed 5 times from 6 over the course and distance. And down towards the bottom of the weights, I'm a Conqueror for a mark of 51. I mean, he's run recently behind Galaxy Star. He was a winner for Mohamed Zaki. Look, he's run well, this fellow, and he is a course and distance winner as well, so conditions should suit him.
In a race like this, Nick, really nice lightweight chance. Gets the services of JP van der Merwe, who rides the weight comfortably. Tricky barrier to contend with, but it is on the poly, so there is going to be good speed, and he might just slot in and finish off strong. What
did you make of a horse like Super Ray? I mean, he is a course and distance winner. I've always thought he wanted further, personally, but he seems to cope with 6 furlongs.
I threw him in my selections the other week, thinking he'd run well, but he did run a quick sectional. He was doing his best work late, but I just think he's looking for a sort of weaker class. Maybe wait till he gets down to Class 5 before throwing him in the mix again.
I'll tell you what we did see last week was a super ride from Jerlin Xiao in the last on Savvy Command. That was, I think you and I actually watched it back, and we even watched I watched it head on with a few people, and there was barely enough room up the fence, but she went for it and gave the horse a super ride. She rides the top weight here, Headhunter. Now, people will look at his form, Scott, and say, well, he was 10th last time. You know, does he need to drop points, this, that, and the other? But for me, I mean, he's been placed off 66-2 back over course and distance. That run last time, Mark basically all but eased him up because he was stopped in his tracks. So, Jerlin's claim, I think the horse is off a sort of a decent mark. I just think there's a lot to like about the top weight, and a race that you could probably throw any number of chances at. Yeah,
I echo your sentiments 100%, Nick. I put it on top to win this. I think the booking of the Apprentice and a 4 kilo claim is a great move by James. Just going to take 4 kilos off 58 is a big difference, and if she rides like she did last week, this horse is going to be in it for a very long way. Yeah, it was a very good ride. Well done, Jerlin, on Savvy Command. We tip our hats to you there. That was a super ride, and we think you can win this on Headhunter. So he'll do for us here in the studio. No pressure. Limited edition in the second. I've thrown 12 Well Felice in as well. He's run last time actually quite eye-catching. Was running home strong. Handicapper was very kindly dropped him 2 points as well. So that won't be a negative by any stretch. And 7 Al Green goes in as well. I thought this was a wide open race, but we'll take a chance with the top weight. 1, 2, 12, and 7 for me. I'm with you, Nick. I'm going Headhunter to get Jerlin Xiao another win on the board, and well placed by James Peters in a field like this. Limited edition, I'll throw in for second. Boxed on solidly. The winner was just far too good on the day, and if he runs like that, he's going to be in the mix here. I'll throw in Super Smart for third. Really nice run. It was just held up at a vital stage last start. Gets the services of a good barrier, so hopefully gets a bit more luck. And I'll throw in the old timer Al Green for fourth. He knows what he's doing. This is a bit of a senior citizen sort of race, and he could be one that just sort of runs into the top 4. So my numbers 1, 2, 5, and 7. Yes, it is a bit like that, this race, in all honesty, isn't it? Some senior gallopers on show. We're 3 races in to this Track Talk show for meeting 22 of the year. As we go to the commercial break, we can have a look back at the highlights from last week's Kranji Mile, taken out by Minister. Here's the one we've been waiting for, the $1 million Kranji Mile. Off and racing, away they go in the Kranji Mile. It's Limbs Lightning, Minister over the top, Limbs Lightning, Minister! Oh, it's close! Minister has got up to land the Kranji Mile ahead of Limbs Lightning, who's run a super race.